So, what do you think about condo taxes? Good afternoon. Uh, you know, sometimes you'll read an article and it's a little bit complicated. So, I wanted to go over this one with you because it from the outside it doesn't make any sense, and then when you read into it, maybe we can get through it together and it'll make more sense. And I'm curious to see what you would think about this particular article. Here it is. It says, builders defend tax law that gives condo owners a break. Critics look to close unfair loophole. And so, what it is in New York, the state of New York, and they do a good job of laying it out. I'm just going to go kind of over the highlights. So, these people live in a ranch style home, and their assessment is $540,000. Okay, and that matches the home's fair market value. And then 4 miles away, there's a similar home that has a $540,000 market value, but an assessed value of $328,000. And so while the first group pays $14,112 in county, town, and school district property taxes, the owners of the other home pay $8,422. So that doesn't seem fair just off the bat. And so, well, why is that? It says, well, the town treats one home as a standard single family residence for tax purposes, while it classifies the other home along with the rest of the properties in this particular court as a condominium. So one's being taxed as a single family home, one's being taxed as a condominium. And then it goes on to say that they don't look like typical condominiums, like what in the Midwest I would consider one, which would be a side-by-side townhouse or units. It says the freestanding residents look like any other spacious suburban home. And so, what's going on here? Why are some single family homes and other single family homes, why are they having a different tax rate? And it says, and then it goes into talking about builders say condominiums typically are constructed on smaller lots along private roads and require fewer town services. Further, their owners, often empty nesters who may otherwise leave town, pay homeowners association fees that cover the cost of work such as plowing snow or picking up garbage. And so the distinction is made that says that condominiums are on private roads, so the municipalities don't have to take care of those, and they require fewer town services. Now, I don't agree with that particular thing. For instance, when I see like they'll build these old folks homes here in St. Louis, and the ambulances are there all the time. So they use services all the time. So I don't really agree with the idea that condos, whenever you have a dense population, you're going to have use of more services. But that's what they say, okay? And I don't particularly want to be on one side or the other about old folks' homes. If I know tax credits are being used for those. But anyway, the idea then is it's a condominium because they're paying homeowners fees to do things like plow the snow or pick up the garbage. So you're not paying the county to do it or the city to do it. And then it goes into the basis of when it started, and it says the condo statute added to the state real estate property tax law 5 decades ago was meant to protect the interests of those renting apartments in high-rise buildings in New York City, if and when the building owners tried to convert the apartments to units for sale. And so what it was is this law was born out of something where there used to be a lot of condo conversions. I don't know that they're still happening now. I certainly don't know. I mean, back in the 2000s, the mid 2000s, you'd go to a commercial area downtown, any place in the United States, you'd take a commercial building and you would retrofit it into a residential, and people were thrilled by this. But what I was always looking at was this is a decline of the commercial inventory, and it means that likely there's less people that need to come to work. I didn't think of it as a good thing. There was no longer a need for the space commercially in a downtown area, which that's not great. But anyway, that's the way it went. It said, however, the law didn't prohibit the application of the condo tax break outside New York City, nor did it limit the law to units within a multi-story structure, and developers and property owners across the state adopted it. So again, started in New York City, seemed to be a good idea, and then no one said anything. And so it says, they've been fighting these things for years. So then, like, in response to complaints, lawmakers updated the rule about 15 years ago to all but bar owners of existing single-family homes from banding together to convert their residences to condominium status. So what homeowners were doing, they were saying, well, okay, well, if you can have this credit, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go ahead and say that we're a homeowners association, and we're gonna band together, and we're gonna change over to a condominium status so that we can get the lower tax. Well, they said you can't do that as an existing homeowner or existing development. But that's not true with new. In cases of new construction, the builder must file a document with local officials declaring a homeowners association and another with the state attorney general's office agreeing to sell the units at a specific price. The buyers agree to pay monthly association fees to cover the cost of services not provided by the town, such as road maintenance, trash pickup, and utilities, and to hold in reserve. So I was thinking for a while, geez, these people are paying more in condo fees than they are in the tax assessment, but I'm wrong based on what I see, based on what we'll see in the future. So it says, developers say they appeal to empty nesters, seniors, and others who don't want the full burden of home ownership and prefer someone else handle the upkeep, even if they have to pay hundreds of dollars a month in association fees. So we have these in St. Louis. These are villas. I mean, it's not weird, but I don't know the tax. I don't know how the taxes are set up in St. Louis or in my part of the country. But now it's going to go and compare and show how this works in a different, how it works in practice in New York. It says largest home on the road, where young pine trees line the entrance, 6,575 square feet with 5 bedrooms and 5.5 bathrooms on nearly 5 acres, has a market value of $2 million, but an assessed value of $1.24 million, or 38% less. This lowers its annual tax bill by more than $19,000. Okay. Another Blackstone court, they're just checking a particular court, a 3,440 square foot colonial sold for $540,000, but its assessment is 39% lower. They pay nearly $5,700 per year more in property taxes on their 3,500 square foot ranch style home than that has assessed market values of $540. So because another home a ways away is in this condo, they're paying 39% less in taxes per year. So it's a problem, I think. I had some thoughts and I had some questions. I just wanted to go over some of those with you. So we'll go here. So, what would happen if you tried to make the condo tax break on every single family home? Who would or who would not support it? So what we're seeing right now is we're saying, hey, these people buying new homes have an advantage, okay? But what if we said everybody just gets taxed at the lower rate? Who would be the ones that would support it then, and who would not be the ones to support it? And then, is that friction on purpose, and does it keep the tax break in place? Rather than having a fair tax policy, okay, you're having two groups that are intentionally pointed right at each other, which I think is the purpose of it. That's what keeps it going. Tax policy and authority does affect behavior in the real world. It's very important, and I think it's almost criminal that the general population isn't more informed, but I understand it. It's complex and made intentionally so. So even this article, where I would just like to read off, what is the real deal here? You have to look at valuations, you have to look at assessments, and it's not as easy. I mean, and tax policy goes across, everything. It's so important. When you hear people are raising your taxes or lower your taxes, I mean, every politician back all the time, you have no idea what they're really doing, and there's no way to really, you can research it, but it's so exhaustive for all these things. But just know that the tax policy and authority, it does affect behavior in the world. You're seeing people build single family homes and calling them condos, and you're seeing other people living in single family homes that say they're not condos. We know that there's a housing crisis in much of the United States, and this particular tax break is not fueling new home developments. Builders will still scramble to build new housing, but this is a powerful selling point. So, it's like you can get more for less, okay? Like, assume that you're paying taxes. Say you have a $500,000 house and you're paying on a house that's worth that's assessed at $350,000. It's a tremendous advantage. And then the article goes on to talk about real estate agents pointing out the possible tax savings. And as an agent, we're going to do everything we can to market the most positive aspects of the home. Lower taxes for a larger home is going to be viewed as a benefit. I don't know if the article expresses it, but there's a hint that somehow real estate agents are in on the game. And I would say that in this case, our job is to sell the home, not dictate tax policy. So there are certainly real estate agents and associations that outright lobby the government on tax policy all the time, specifically the mortgage deduction. If a trade group was asked about this particular tax break, I suspect they would be in favor of it. We're always going to be in favor of tax breaks. But we're not going to openly advocate for the tax break in this particular case as an agent trying to sell a home. Advocate, to be an advocate would be in a different position. And I was just wondering, what do you think? Should developers and builders be allowed to change the definition of a single family home to a condominium in order to skirt a significant tax bill? Leave me a comment in the comment section below. So what do you think? I think it's wrong. I'll just say flat out, you tax everybody at the same level on a single family home across the board. That's my belief. Maybe you think that there's a reason for it. It's not being used, in my opinion, to stimulate new construction, stimulate new home purchases. There's no benefit to it other than the people have an incentive to purchase a condominium. It's not even about the citizens. They're still using services, and so the argument is completely ridiculous. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you see it a different way. If so, leave me a comment below. With that, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.